if we think of Bitcoin in fiat currency, if we measure Bitcoin in fiat currency, Bitcoin's price will go to infinity. And so if Bitcoin's price will go to infinity, will you still want to remain public, in the future? So for my personal security and for the security of my family and my future family, I prefer to not reveal myself.
The Rational Root, a prominent Bitcoin analyst on-chain, held the prestigious position of chief analyst for the Bitcoin strategy platform. Renowned for his unique spiral charts, his pricing models have gained such popularity over time that he has amassed a follower base exceeding 150,000 individuals. He firmly believes that the 4-year cycle of Bitcoin is unfolding as expected, and according to his models, Bitcoin could be valued between $100,000 and $1 million by the end of 2025. Recently, the Rational Root delivered a compelling presentation at the 2023 Bitcoin Magazine conference, where he meticulously dissected Bitcoin's supply dynamics. He explained why the 2024 halving event would mark the first time in Bitcoin's history that the active supply of this cryptocurrency is steadily decreasing leading up to the halving date. A Bitcoin supply shock is looming, and according to this analyst, being invested in this asset could potentially be life-changing. So let's lend an ear to what the Rational Root has to share and delve into the intricacies of his spiral chart to gain insights into what might unfold in the coming months. And please, if you find this content useful, informative, or valuable, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more similar videos. Now let's get started.
So if we plot the circulating supply of Bitcoin, we can see that we currently have 19.5 million coins in circulation. Now, we know that there is a hard cap of 21 million coins. So the remaining 1.5 million coins will be mined over the next 100 years. Now, with each halving, the supply issuance gets cut in half. So this curve that you can see is flattening out. And so pre-halving 1, 50% of Bitcoin supply was mined. And between halving 1 and 2, it was 25% of Bitcoin supply that was mined, and another 12.5% between halving 2 and halving 3. And it keeps on going, and so it flattens out. Now, let's use our metric liveliness on this circulating supply. You can see that each halving, by the way, each halving takes 210,000 blocks. So at the x-axis, you can see the years and the time in block time. Now, let's plot our liveliness metric into this circulating supply. Now, we can divide the supply into two categories. Now, one is the active supply, and the other one is the non-participating supply. Well, why is it non-participating? It's because those coins, they don't move on-chain. And so many of these coins from this non-participating supply come from this 2009, 2010 era where Bitcoin didn't really have a price yet. So a lot of these coins are lost, and this also includes the million coins that belong to Satoshi, who are very unlikely to move. So this non-participating supply does not actively take part in Bitcoin's price discovery. So the active supply, on the other hand, is the supply that's responsible for Bitcoin's price discovery. So we're going to zoom in to that active supply, because that non-participating supply we can kind of ignore. Now, the active supply, instead of having 19.5 million coins previously, we now are down to 12 million coins that are kind of in circulation, that are actively responsible for Bitcoin's price discovery. And we can actually see that since the third halving, the available supply for trade that remains, that is shrinking. Now, this is kind of logical because the growth rate of illiquid supply has been outpacing new supply issuance due to the fact that illiquid supply grows in a linear fashion and the new supply issuance gets cut in half with every halving. And we're actually not far away from the next halving, which is at block 840,000. Now, the next question then becomes, when can we expect a new hype phase in Bitcoin? And for that, we're going to have to look at the psychology of the market cycle. And you might all know this graph. This is the Wall Street cheat sheet. It covers all the phases that one goes through in a market cycle. And we can see that the price is color-coded as well. So there's these green colors for euphoria and these red colors for capitulation or depression. And so we're going to apply this chart to Bitcoin. And so we're going to think about what is the best way to apply this chart to Bitcoin, and what is the best way to apply these different phases to the Bitcoin market cycle. And so that's the next topic that we will discuss. And for that, we need to open up our on-chain toolbox once more. And we're going to use an on-chain metric. And I just explained that if a coin gets spent, we can actually see the age of a coin. So we know that this is an old coin. Similarly, we can identify the young coins. Now, young coins, or people that have been in the market for a short time, they are much more susceptible to price action because they might buy some Bitcoin and they might be immediately at a loss, and then so they're sensitive to any price action that is going on. Now, we can also look at the purchase price of this coin and the sell price of that coin. And this allows us to actually look at the average purchase price for these short-term holders. And now we have our metric, the short-term holder cost basis, or the short-term holder average purchase price. And this is a very useful metric because if we look at the price chart once more and we plot our short-term holder average purchase price in there, we can see that during a bull market, we actually we find ourselves above the average purchase price, meaning that the short-term holders are in a profit. And during a bear market, we are below the average purchase price of the short-term holders, and that means that they are at a loss. Now, the distance that we find ourselves above or below the short-term holder cost basis is also interesting because it shows how much these short-term holders are in profit or at a loss. And so imagine we flatten out this short-term holder cost basis and we actually look at the distance of price above or below that short-term holder cost basis, and we can look at that distance in terms of standard deviations. And this allows us to actually color code our price info, and we can see those dark green colors which identify that price is substantially above the short-term holder cost basis, and those dark red colors when we are severely below the short-term holder cost basis. And this allows us to now have a color-coded price info based on this on-chain metric. Now we're going to use this color-coded price in the following chart because Bitcoin moves in a 4-year cycle. And what chart is better than a circular chart to show Bitcoin's cycle? So each rotation in this circular chart is a time period of 4 years because Bitcoin moves in a 4-year period. And so we start in the top at 2009, we move to 2010, 11, 12, 13, and we keep on going all the way to today. And the price info on this chart is actually shown by each ring in this chart. So we start at a cent in the very center, and then we move with a tenfold increase every ring from $1 to $10 to $100, and the most outer ring is $10 million. Now, let's plot our price info. So we start at January 3rd, 2009, when Bitcoin launched at the Genesis block, and we're gonna plot the Bitcoin's price into this chart. And you can see no price info yet because in 2009, Bitcoin didn't have a price yet. We are in the first cycle now. And it was actually not until the late 2010, here you can see Bitcoin's price start moving from the center and we immediately jump above that $10, after which we have a severe drop and we make a bottom for that cycle. We're now already in the year 2012 and we get there. That blue dot that that's just showing is the halving, which causes this supply shock and it causes an increase in price. Now we are in the year 2014 already. We had a peak at the end of 2013 and we make a bottom now there at the beginning of 2015, and so we keep on rotating and we now see actually some more neutral price action, and we now have a next halving there, that blue dot again, and we move into the third cycle now. We are in the year 2017 and we make a peak at the end of 2017 there. Now, let's pause the chart for a second, and we can actually see that we have two peaks around that same area at the end of the year every 4 years. And so we could identify this as the euphoria phase. So here we see the euphoria phase that we added. And if this is the euphoria phase, then we can also actually start identifying the other phases. And so after euphoria actually comes complacency, where people think that we just need to cool off a little bit. And so let's start adding in these other phases. So we can actually now see that we move to complacency, to denial, and people start then panicking. Why is everyone selling? And then we move into the capitulation phase, where people cannot afford any more losses and they capitulate, and we make a bottom at that phase. And then we move into the depression, where people become a bit angry. And then we move into stagnation, so the price is kind of going sideways, we're stagnating. We get the disbelief phase, where people start also doubting soon after. And then there's actually some hope, because the halving happens, and we move into the next phase where people become a little more calm because the price went up a little bit, and they become more optimistic. And then they really start believing again in Bitcoin, and they really think like it's time to invest. And then we get a small intermission, which is followed by thrill, where everyone thinks, I got to tell everyone to buy. This is amazing. And then we feel like a genius, and we make a cycle peak at 69K there, and we move back into complacency, and it starts all over. Denial, and we move again back into the panic. Why is everyone selling? And where we felt like a genius in the euphoria phase, we now feel like an idiot at the depression phase. And we move back again, we have to endure, and we move again into that stagnation phase, where price kind of is choppy and sideways. And we're actually now in the end, kind of at the end of that stagnation phase. We're kind of moving into that disbelief phase, which is followed by a phase of doubt. And then the next halving will actually be at this blue line that you can see here. So the halving moves back a bit with every cycle, because the halving is just slightly less than 4 years. So that's why these blue dots are kind of moving backwards with every cycle. Now the next halving is less than 6 months away, and so leading up to the halving, we actually have the phase of disbelief and doubt. And so we cannot expect price to do much impressive things until the halving. But after the halving, we get this spark of hope. And so I think people will become a little more calm and optimistic and start believing once again. And then we get our next euphoria phase towards the end of 2025, if the cycle keeps moving in a similar fashion.
If the rational roots model and the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory continue to hold true, everything points towards us entering a bullish phase for Bitcoin's price as the halving event looms on the horizon. If this holds, the spiral model suggests that the price of BTC could reach anywhere between $100,000 and $1 million by the end of 2025. Coupled with the imminent approval of BlackRock's spot Bitcoin ETF and other companies that have sought it, one might argue that this scenario doesn't sound far-fetched at all. Now, what are your thoughts on this? What's your price prediction for Bitcoin in the coming years? Please let me know in the comments. If you found this video useful, informative, or entertaining, please don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel for more similar content. Many thanks to all of you for sticking around until the end, and I hope to see you again very soon. This is Wealth Wizards wishing you an excellent day. Goodbye.